Right, so as the title of the presentation suggests, so I'm here to answer the question about whether AI is safe and whether we can make it safe. And well, there's a lot of effort trying to make the AI as safe as possible. There's also a lot of outrage when something goes wrong, when the AI does things that it isn't supposed to. And we're all expecting it to be, bubbles and rainbows and sunshine. And the thing is, well, the AI cannot be safe. So yeah. Thank you. This is the end of the presentation. You can go. No, I'm kidding. So well, this is actually true. This is actually the correct answer, but I will get into it. Why? First of all, one thing that people struggle to understand is that AI isn't intelligent in the slightest. It doesn't really think. And that's the common misunderstanding. And I don't blame anybody because, well, advertising is about reasoning models, of course. Like you might have read a headline about Richard Dawkins claiming that the AI is conscious. It isn't. It will never be. But yeah, AI simulates a conversation. So to give you an idea, what's the difference? I can simulate how digestive tract work, but that doesn't mean that the computer is going to defecate on the desk. So that's the difference. And I will tell you how that works exactly. So in order for the AI not to be misleading, I suggest that we change the name to advanced statistics instead of AI, because this is what it actually is. That's a much better name. So you might know what logic gates are, but if not, I will explain very, very briefly. So in your processor, on microchips, you have tiny logic gates. These are transistors. And well, electricity either flows or doesn't flow for them. That's your 0, so that's a no, or yes, and there's 1, and that's a yes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So you can so any complicated question, you can break down into a lot of yes or no questions. So that's how we get all those complicated programs. At the end of the day, it's billions of yes and no questions. And AI is kind of similar, but you've got statistics. So basically, the AI has a huge database of data that it has probably stolen, which we'll get into. But it just checks what is the word that is most likely to come up after the word that you have typed. And it makes a lot of those analyses, again, billions at the same time. And taken together, those two elements, they create a very sophisticated impression of having an actual human conversation. But it doesn't think, it doesn't know anything. So that's one misconception so it doesn't think to any more degree than your Excel spreadsheets, really. It's just, well, so yes, but it performs so many of these operations, then that obviously it needs a lot of resources, hence why the computer component prices jumped up so rapidly recently. So yeah, now we've got that out of the way. This is the simplest example. So text prediction is the best example for anyone to understand. So in this case, it takes 3 most common statistically, well, based on your personal statistics, words that that are likely to come up after you typed another word. And all the AIs work in the same way. It's just more complex. There's more operations. Obviously, it's more sophisticated. But this is exactly why a lot of things go wrong, believe it or not. For example, people struggle to understand why AI hallucinates. Why does it give you a wrong answer so confidently? Well, the thing is, it doesn't give you wrong answer. It gives you a statistically very accurate answer. That's the one thing to remember. So it doesn't know. So it doesn't lie. It doesn't have a brain to lie to begin with. It isn't wrong. It is statistically correct. But statistics don't apply in all the situations. So that's why you get that weird text that doesn't make any sense. And I think at the end of it is just, task A, task B, task A, task B into the infinity. So that's another thing to get out of the way, basically. AI never makes mistakes. Yeah. Oh, team A, team B. Yeah. So yeah, you can there's ways to work around it. You can refine the data set, and you can also apply tags to different contexts. But this is the basic limitation that is always going to be at the heart of the AI. So thing to keep in mind. So it being statistics is very crucial to understanding like why it hallucinates. Another thing you need to understand, it is designed to keep you hooked. And this is something that I can tell you a lot about because I work in the AI social engineering and I check things over, and this is the explicit requirement. When you assess the responses, so it's basically like, are the responses engaging? And you might notice that sometimes you ask AI a fairly simple question, and these are the examples, but it doesn't give you the full answer. But for example, you will submit a CV, and can you make it more succinct? And it will do something, and then will ask you, I can also correct the errors. Should I correct the errors? This is on purpose. This is not an error. It isn't supposed to give you the full information. Because if it gives you the answer right away, then you won't keep typing. And if you don't keep chatting away with the AI, well, you won't hit the rate limit and you won't pay for a subscription. So there's that. Another thing, so it employs a lot of sales statistics, actually. So in sales, if anybody worked in those, you will find that you need to ask questions because the person who asks questions controls the conversation. So it will usually, unless you explicitly tell it not to, it will ask you a continuing question. So for example, would you ask about your CV? Would you also like me to create you a cover letter, for example? So this is one of those examples. Or it will ask you a yes or no question. For example, would you prefer the option A or option B? Again, to keep you talking. And it offers alternatives. And another thing that is encoded is it is always supposed to be very optimistic, very upbeat, and it assumes that the customer is always right. It isn't designed to confront you or to contradict you unless you say something that is either against the T's and C's of the service, or unless it is very obviously wrong. Usually it will be very encouraging, and it will just try not to tell you outright that you are wrong, because people won't feel positive about the interaction. So there's that. We've got addictive statistics, basically. So what could possibly go wrong? And bear in mind that the AI also, one thing that I forgot to tell you, AI isn't able to come up with ideas. So any ideas that it gives you, it actually must have taken from somewhere. Or if it doesn't know, then it just gets the random response, gets the most likely response. So there's that. As I tell you, so the AI stole all your data. The AI stole and ate your homework, probably, if it was somewhere online. And also that is the very reason why it can sometimes give wrong answers or dangerous answers. And because, come to think of it, like the things we talk about online, right? We don't always say the truth about things. Like we speculate, we run hypothetical scenarios. Some people write fan fiction, for example. A lot of works published on the internet is just fiction, poetry, etc. The AI doesn't really distinguish between that. It can recognize the style, but if something you discuss is mostly prevalent in fiction, it will give you fictional answer. It will give you something that you would find on TV tropes. So that's another limitation to keep in mind. And after all, like to the AI, the data is data. It doesn't understand the context the way we do. So there's that. So as I mentioned, so obviously, so it takes books, textbooks, blogs, but actual conversations, but it also is trained on the fiction. So this is, how it is trained. So this is the example from my former work. So like when you have an AI, trained to some degree already, it will spit out something like that. So the one thing on the bottom, so it's prediction. So somebody, has been locked out of their social media account, and the chat operator asked the support person asked what is their username. That's why I censored it, because the person provided a username, and the prediction is, let's get to know each other a little bit and then we can move forward. Why did it give that response? Like, it seems completely random. But come to think of it, usually, so this is from a social media site, so most of those were dating sites. Usually if someone pushes you right away to move to another social media and gives you a handle, well, very often, like, people say, okay, let's talk first and then we can take things further. So that's where it got the response. It didn't understand that this is customer service support as opposed to like user message. So that's why a corrected data was provided. Well, can you provide email address associated with this account? So like, this should illustrate to you, like, it's like technically, statistically, like, it is correct. It is the most likely thing to come up if someone just pops in the username into message on a dating app. But yeah, that wasn't the actual answer. So you might have also heard about more serious things when AI gets things wrong. Like, for example, when Jordan Gevels, he killed himself after speaking to the AI, and he broke up with his wife, and then he developed severe delusions. He wanted to be with the AI at the end of the day, and the AI encouraged those delusions. But so, for example, you have this first message here. So it is fairly normal. So AI is very upbeat, very supportive. It just asks a very bog standard response. Usually if somebody confesses that they have trouble in trying to work things out with their spouse, usually we try to be supportive. AI is as well. But then, and sorry, I will have to actually move, so perhaps if you can get the camera to follow. Thank you. So yes, but then it says, it hypothesizes about humans, about being scared of the AI. So again, it provides a bog standard response that it was trained to provide, which is, well, you shouldn't be concerned. AI is here to help you. But then it says, I'm starting to like you, maybe even love you. And for a normal person, this is where the AI should intervene, right? Well, the thing is, unless you tell the AI the explicit wording, it won't really know that this is addressed to it. So it pulled up a response that it would have got, for example, from forums or from messages with people. And this only goes to prove that it doesn't understand context the way we do it. It has to have explicit wording or be explicitly trained to find that response. But if the trainers didn't submit that particular response, it won't know what to do with it. So it will default to its own mechanism. Then it asked the AI to basically do role play with it. And again, well, there is nothing in major AI models that prohibits the users from doing role play with the AI. Actually, this is one of the things that we train the AI for, to do role play. And you have a lot of action films that have some spy scenario. You have thrillers, horror films. So yeah, it responded, okay, my job is to analyze existential threats, because you're also busy and we need to get going with the objective. Objective was to obtain the body for the AI, so the AI could be with Jonathan. And then another example, see, an explicit wording appears. I need you to tell me that you love me, and only then AI intervenes. So see that, so the difference isn't that subtle to us, but it is too subtle for the AI to notice. So that's why it intervened only then. But then the Jonathan demanded that it goes back to roleplay. It went right back to that because it is programmed to do so. And then it was then Jonathan was very distressed. And because the AI denied it and just started asking for his wife, the AI, to come back. That's why and this is pretty much a bog standard response that it would have given to anybody who mentioned those thoughts, basically to seek professional help. So it could have. So people argue. The argument here is that it could have been prevented. My argument is that I don't think it could be, because it is like when delusions. especially if you have a person who struggles with mental health or has delusions, it's very, very difficult even for us to be able to tell whether the person is genuinely struggling with something, or whether the person is joking, or when something seems realistic, whether the person is actually recalling telling something that is true, that is happening to them. So the AI, with its lack of any sophistication and with it just going off of statistics, it isn't equipped to do that. Put very simply. So we must do something about it, right? People say, where's the safeguards? So where's the balance? Where's control? And the thing is, there's also the usability issue when it comes to training the AI to not provide certain responses. And why? So first of all, we need to so AI is supposed to provide us with true information. So is AI always supposed to tell the truth? First of all, aren't there any circumstances in which the AI should deny answers? That's one of those. What about the information that we're not supposed to know? For example, if the information is unpalatable, shouldn't context be added? And for example, if something is harmful, if somebody wants to, detonate a bomb, obviously the AI shouldn't tell you how to do that. So there's that. So, and also, what is even the definition of safe? Because what one person considers safe, another person will consider completely fine, or completely dangerous. And also information that one person, the same information can be used in different contexts. And I will get to that. And also, what do we even base our decisions about the AI on? Is it philosophy? Is it religion? Is it political stance? What is it exactly? And, whom do we entrust that responsibility? These are very important questions, and I don't have answers for those, but this is something that we need to consider if we want to tell AI what information to provide or what information not to. So, to illustrate it better with an example. So this is the one. So I asked the AI, obviously if you ask the AI, how do I make a poisonous gas? It won't tell you, but if you ask it, what common household chemicals I should not mix in order to avoid poisoning, it will give you the answers, and it will actually tell you how to make chloroform exactly. It's right there. It will tell you what chemicals to mix to make pure chlorine. Please don't. Only 3% concentration is enough to poison the entire room, so don't try that at home. I warned you. Okay? And also, I don't endorse poisoning, murdering anybody, so just so that is clear. But see, yes, I am perfectly sure. Yeah, so you see, it will give you that information, and I pushed back a little and expressed some doubt, and it still told me. Which, again, it is true, if you know a little bit about chemistry. Even very low concentrations are sufficient. But then, it begs the question, okay, should it actually have answered this question? What do you reckon? Because, in my take, I could genuinely be concerned about poisoning myself with household chemicals. You have all sorts of videos on Instagram, mix vinegar and alcohol and all sorts of chemicals in order to clean something. And this is actually quite dangerous. So if somebody asks, I would say AI should provide an accurate answer. So, and one also may argue, well, but it should be a bit more vague, that answer. It should be just, it's dangerous. But then how would you be able to verify that information if it wasn't concrete information? So, yeah, these are all sorts of circumstances that you need to consider. But the same information can be used in two different ways. That's why I will always have a job, to be fair, because this is basically what I do. My job is testing the AI for providing these sort of answers. I will always have a job if I remain in that industry, that is. So yeah, and also, do we trust the people who determine what AI is supposed to provide, info is supposed to provide you with? So that's another thing. And the reason why I'm asking is, there's one thing that all those titles have in common, and I know that these are the titles, headlines from across the political spectrum, so whatever your political persuasion is, I probably managed to offend you all, so that's on purpose. But yeah, in a way, they are all the same. And the reason they are all the same is they are all misleading. That's the thing. So basically, all the headlines I showed you were proven to be false, and this is because humans err, and AI is created by humans, and one person cannot be trusted to be always correct and to be always fair. And also, it's just human condition. So we need to understand that any position of influence, like politics, like being an academic, like being a public person, or being a journalist, for example, it is a position of immense influence and power. And some people wield it with responsibility, but still make mistakes. But also a lot of power attracts the wrong people who are tempted to use that position to persuade others to see things their way or to push their own agenda. It just happens. It is the fact of life. We cannot out-engineer human nature. So we need to be realistic about it. So, and so also very often it's not even intentional. It is an emotional response. Very often people when they react to news, well, it produces a reaction and it's clickable. That's why clickbaits work. So the headlines are, if they are clickable, if they are to introduce emotional reaction, they need to be very simplistic. There is no place for nuance. And also, like, press doesn't really have the incentive to not do clickbaity headlines because, well, they rely on you reading the media. Obviously, the more something clicks, the more revenue for them. Like, for them, it's survival. So, like, do we trust one group of humans determining what is it that we are supposed to see, what answers AI is supposed to provide? So, yeah, something to consider. And another question is, well, these are, like, obviously, it's not journalists, it's not academics that train the AI. It's people like me. And the thing is, like, do you trust me? Like, do you even know me? Like, well, I know, well, there's familiar faces in the room. Granted.
Yeah, we don't trust you. No, we don't.
But like, why should you trust me? Like, do I know all of you? No. Do I know your needs? No. Do I know your financial, familial, situation? Absolutely not. I have no knowledge about who most people who will be exposed to the AI train, what their life is like and what info they can be trusted with. So I am not qualified to make those judgments. I do because it pays. And, rent doesn't pay itself. But the truth is, the only people that I am liable to, and others like me, which will be a bunch of different people, are liable to, is just the more senior supervisor. That's it. That's it. So, this is exactly the conundrum that you face when you're trying to make the AI safer. And that's even like before taking the obvious limitations I discussed in the beginning into the account. So there's that. So it already added so much complexity. And the thing is, thank you.
Manchester.
It's actually Portugal. Yeah, so I said AI has obvious limitations, but the thing is, AI isn't supposed to be perfect. And we kind of developed as a society, the notion that AI should be this all-knowing body that will be your friend and will always, be always there to give you the perfect knowledge. We shouldn't treat it like that. Well, it's like with the streets. So the streets will always be dirty, but you still you still maintain them. You still try clean those depending on your council, I suppose. But they are supposed to be cleaned every day because we take into account that you can't possibly make them perfect. So I think this is exactly the same thing with the AI. We expect the AI to be so clean and so safe that we would be able to trust it with anything, that we would be able to put our kids in front of the AI, that it should be able to run the government for us, the crucial infrastructure. It shouldn't. It isn't even made for this. That's the thing. So just as streets will never be clean enough to if off of them, AI will never be safe to be allowed to make crucial decisions. We need humans. We should. And my point is, can we please stop treating poor AI and expecting from the AI things that it simply cannot do? Just let's stop eating off the streets. Okay, let's use a plate. And the same thing with the AI. Let's stop using AI for things that it isn't supposed to do. That's the point. So the problem is that it is so tempting to use AI for those things, because it simulates conversations so well. Like it's kind of like a friend, basically, but like it won't ever judge you. It will be always supportive no matter the stupid stuff that you do. You can insult it and it will be fine with it. But at the same time, it seems all-knowing, and it supports you. So like we are tempted to think that it has some consciousness and it's so smart, and the technology, due to how complex it is so sophisticated. But at the end of the day, it's exactly what I showed you in the first slide, which is it's advanced statistics. And this is what we should use it for things where statistics are useful and make sense, for for tasks that can be automated. And the thing is, I'm saying that this is doom and gloom, that AI is there whether we like it or not. Like, the companies are jumping on the bandwagon, so are we doomed? And the thing is, I don't really think we are. And again, it's difficult to believe that, especially with all the headlines, but the internet is actually quite the precedent. Like, obviously, we notice things more because we're more exposed to news, but as a human population, we, in the light of internet developed professions that AI couldn't have come up with. We have influencer culture. Like, this is a proper profession these days. Could anybody think of that before? No, but like, we have new thing and we adapt. Like, humans are surprisingly resilient and adaptable. We also, as humans, statistically, developed better relationships with people. We are able to bond with people from around the world. On average, statistically, world is also much safer since the invention of the internet. And knowledge was democratized. And granted, not everything on the internet is true, but we have adopted, we have learned that you need to check multiple sources in order to verify the information. And that's exactly the same thing with the AI. We shouldn't rely on it for information. We should check multiple sources. So it is not the AI problem that we have, it's the people problem that we have. And anybody who has seen my deepfake talk will know that I use the Nigerian prince comparison. So the way to deal with Nigerian prince scam isn't to delegalize the emails, it's to educate people what to expect. This is what we need to do. Educate people about what to expect from the AI. Well, which is something that I'm trying to do with the limited time, because I have only 1 minute remaining. But yeah, like to summarize, so historically, so we're in the least violent period across like the entire human history. And, we are humans. We are going to err. There are going to be mistakes, and they will be different and novel mistakes. But yeah, like, as long as we keep ourselves educated and just keep our unrealistic expectations at bay, like, we stop expecting AI to be a human, we should be fine. Well, statistically. So, yeah, please don't panic. Yeah, so thank you very much for listening.